Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, 8th, yeah, August 8th. Let's see, we're on the European account. I decided to start going in the opposite direction, so I'm going to start streams on my America's account and then move to the European account. Maybe that will work a little bit better, and then eventually I'll finish on the Asian account. I need to get a major shaman victory. Like, let's try this freeze mage. I'm hoping that by starting on the Americas account, if anybody comes on and they immediately want to play me, they can do that. They're more likely to be playing on the Asian account. Then I suppose if people want to play me and I've already moved over to the European account, then I'll have to make them wait, but I think I'll end up making less people wait doing it this way.
Oh, it is on.
Let's see. Almost every article now, I don't know, ever since I started covering the news, video games in general have become a little less interesting, a little less fun, in fact. Just because the news is always negative, it's always a controversy, it's always something that people should be aware about. Like, for instance, so I already talked about it, but the IGN getting caught plagiarizing and stealing content for at least the 5th time in 5 years.
What is my purpose?
At least allegedly has been caught at least 5 times in 5 years, from what I could do just doing a cursory internet search. The
pain speak to me.
So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But also plagiarism being treated well. The good news is I don't think anybody is even trying at this point to say plagiarism is not bad. Like we have, at least on this topic, the journalist community, whether video game journalists or otherwise, are on the same page that plagiarism is never acceptable, and you can't try to make the argument, sure, I plagiarize, but plagiarism isn't wrong. Which certainly we could be in that scenario.
Bring the pain. Reality woven.
But then that brings me to our first story I want to talk about. This one is weird because I thought this is a Game of Sutra article. Firewatch art director Ollie Moss has joined Valve. I thought all of the employees who were employees at Firewatch would have all been at Valve when Valve acquired it. So why is there a specific news story that that's saying this person who worked at Firewatch on Firewatch moved to Valve?
Access denied.
Let's see. So this Game of Sutra article is literally 3 sentences. So that's useless. I'm just gonna have to Google Ollie Moss, I guess, and see if I can explain what. Let's see, careers. Campo Santo. Campo Santo was the creator of Firewatch.
I wonder.
Do this. And do that. Then end the turn. In September 2013, Moss and Mark of the Ninja team leader Niels Anderson joined with former Telltale Games employer Jake Rodkin and Sean Vanneman. And I think Sean Vanneman is probably the most contentious person at Campo Santo. So it was like a 4-person team. Moss worked closely on the design as well as the art for the studio's first release, Firewatch, inspired by the iconic style of 1960s national park posters. Blah 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 blah. He must have just been a contractor though, but then but he wasn't a contractor if he formed the company. So I'm very confused why this is a story. Somebody tweeted out they're working for Valve when we knew it, or at least we assumed that everybody at Campo Santo, all 4 of those people, are working at Valve. Let's see. Campo Santo, by the way, is also founded with the Idle Thumbs co-founder Jake Rodkin. So
I wonder.
Sean Vanneman and Jake Rodkin, according to this Wikipedia article, says they co-founded Campo Santo, and they were then joined by Niels Anderson and Moss as, I guess, some kind of
What to do?
So it's a two-person founded the job. 2 people founded it. 2 people were basically employees. I'm just scrolling down here, and somebody's chatting something. A lot more chatter since the Boomsday Project came out. Of people chat messaging me on Hearthstone. So I guess that's new players. I'm not gonna respond to it though, even if they did say something intelligible, which that really wasn't.
An incredible discovery!
Let's see. So I'm looking at the Campo Santo Wikipedia page. They do have the history. Say Sean Vanneman tweeted that he'd be doing a DMCA takedown against PewDiePie. And then Firewatch was review bombed on Steam. And Ars Technica noted that the company previously stated on their website that they gave open permission to stream and monetize videos made while playing the game. So had PewDiePie spent some of his millions, which theoretically he has, to fight that DMCA, he would have won and set precedent, and that would have been very, very helpful for streamers. So I guess I should be a little bit mad at PewDiePie for not fighting that. I'm not sure if the DMCA actually ever got filed, though. They kind of just threatened to do it, and then PewDiePie took it down. Apparently, what happened here is I guess Moss was just just a contractor or something. Yeah. And as a contractor now, he's in a theoretically. That's like theoretically he's now an employee, but he might be. So the exact quote from his Twitter is, "So one thing that's neat is that I'm going to work at Valve," which you could probably translate that to, "I'm going to work at Valve for a while," or "I'm going to work in the offices of Valve, but I'm not technically an employee." Ooh, that's a nice card to play.
Job done.
What did that card do? Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1 mana. Ooh. Nice.
Access denied.
So, what a non-story. What a just non-story. Like, yeah, this guy is going to work at Valve. There's nothing else he can really say or has said. Let's see. Moving on. Kimetsu, my only real saver at this point as far as video game news, because they just really talk about video games and only video games, and mostly Japanese video games. 12 minutes of Anno, A-N-N-O, Mutationium at China Joy 2018.
Runs out on me.
So Mutatium is M-U-T-A-T-I-O-N-E-M. China Joy, I believe, is a conference. So it looks like this gameplay is going to be played via camera looking at the screen. This looks like it is a hack and slash 2.5D game where you're fighting mechs.
What to do?
With some cyberpunk characters. It's kind of a half Chinese anime style and half cyberpunk, which I don't know who I would attribute cyberpunk to, really. So the thing I don't see here is Sorcerer's Apprentice. Where's Sorcerer's Apprentice? There they are. I need to make multiple copies of that. Well, apparently Anno Mutationium is coming to PS4. And nothing else. So, unless it comes to PC, I have no real interest in it. Moving on, Sumo GameIndustry.biz has an article. Sumo search for the next Snake Pass. Why the UK developer runs regular game jams and is planning to share the playable prototypes for free. The way that's kind of phrased, it feels like what they're saying is they're running game jams to particularly source the source new games. So somebody would be invited to a game jam, think of a great idea, think of a great game, and then they would just steal that idea and take it for their own. I don't believe that's what they mean. I think what they mean is they have more internal game jams. Yeah, the first phrase here in this article is internal game jams, where employees who are already working for Sumo are working, given a project basically to say, hey, why don't you think up of a game and let's see how that works. Snake Pass is a game I definitely want to cover. It's an interesting idea, certainly, alone. Right, here we go. Right. Friendly minion and copy it. And friendly minion and copy it. And that's gonna get me, I think, as close as I can get. So if he can play a spell, which he probably can, to kill all these, I'm doomed.
Behold the glory of a new sun!
Yep. So ideally I should have played this first. So yeah, I'm doomed.
Require my assistance.
You know what this deck is supposed to do. It would have gotten, had he been on the field, would have gotten this down to 1 mana, and I could have done enough of them to win in a couple turns. I guess though this is also kind of an internal story. It's like, yeah, one company does a lot of internal game jams to make the next game. They're really not doing anything that any other company probably isn't doing. The big difference is most game jam games suck. Like, whether it's a public or an internal game jam, you're given maybe a week at most. Usually it's like just a couple of days, and they're just like single gameplay mechanic ideas, single story play gameplay mechanics. Some game jams are built around themes that are really only useful if you were going to try and pitch a story versus pitching a gameplay mechanic, when frankly you need to be pitching a gameplay mechanic more than anything. Like story, audio, visual, all that stuff is not going to get done in a few days. But the idea of a snake acting like a snake and crawling around a stick, programming towards that, and motion rigging towards that is a concept that you could at least start with. That's why I've seen some game jams where most of the games are just visual novels, and that's it. And you're just not going to take a great... some game jams, like, there's no game even finished. It's just a couple people who are going to pitch a concept. And it's also inside baseball too. Let's see. No, I can still win this, right? And I literally cannot play that card. And I literally can't do anything else either, so... That's all I can do. I'm gonna lose by fatigue alone. Gamer Sutra has an interesting article. How a Twitter campaign brought in 95 new game reviews. Apparently this is a blog from Failbetter, and they started a Twitter campaign to get people to review Sunless Sea. Now I would argue Failbetter has also done some amount of influence or bribery to get people talking about Sunless Sea, because it has been talked about way too much. It is way overhyped. It's still not out yet, and there's just kind of nothing whatsoever there that would explain why it has gotten so much coverage. So what did they do? They started a hashtag called Love Indies, a week-long celebration of indie games and their communities designed to boost positive conversation and hopefully lead to more players remembering games they loved, which deserve a brief review. And so they made an icon that says Love Indies, rate review. I saw this only a couple days ago. The first Love Indies took place in July, so apparently they're doing it again. I could have won there, but I'm gonna have to get really, really good at playing that mage deck. Let's try the new HS Replay Shaman deck. Where is it? Token Shaman. Even this article, this blog that they're writing is just around the idea of promoting games, their game.
Thrall versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild.
For Doomhammer.
But the way this is phrased, how a Twitter campaign brought in 95 new Steam reviews is weird. And because brought almost, if you misread it, just looks like bought. How a Twitter campaign bought 95 new game reviews. And I don't know what 95 new game reviews really tells you or does. Steam in particular, it's clearly that a case of not very many people review the games. And even of the people who do review games, not very many of them want to do great writing on during the reviews. Often it's just a good game, liked it, whatever. Inherently, I think what they need to do is they need to abandon or merge a thumbs up, thumbs down system into the idea of, let's see. Like, they need a thumbs up system is what they need. A thumbs up and thumbs down system on top of reviews. Because everybody should be asked in like the next Steam summer sales, like, hey, did you like this game? Thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. This will help us get better recommendations.
Is a ribbon of moonlight.
Unlike YouTube in particular, which is so obsessed with people just staying on the service and seeing more ads, Steam isn't showing you ads. So there's really no reason why they should take into factor or account something like the number of hours you spend on a game. There's plenty of games that a lot of people just idle and are awful, and so if somebody's time clickers is mine, like time clickers is always idling on it, doesn't mean I love time clickers 19,000 hours more than I love Borderlands 2 or Portal 2. So I don't know if Steam really does take your playtime into account. They do list it during the reviews, but for the vast majority of people, it is a case of most people having less than 2 hours on record of even playing the game. Let's see. Let's do this. And do this. And do this. And do this. And this. You wouldn't want to limit what people could review on Steam to like people who've played more than 2 hours. I don't think that's a valuable thing to add, but I would like just a thumbs up, thumbs down. And frankly, it could be a blanket thing where even if you don't own it on Steam, you could thumbs up, thumbs down it, and they could just run their basic spam filtering algorithms on top of that. In fact, they probably could catch some people who are cheating the system better.
Thunderstruck!
Alright, so I have a game on Steam called Skateboarding Pro. It looks like MS Paint graphics. It's $5.99. Yeah, it's just a side-scrolling infinite runner type game. So yeah, nothing really to say there on that game. Your Gamer has an article. Dedicated fan spends a year 100%ing every canon Zelda game. Oh, I know who this guy is. I used to watch this guy on YouTube. Let's see, what is his name? How do you get to somebody's YouTube page? Watch on YouTube.com, I guess. Super MC Gamer. I haven't watched him in a long time. So the thing about Super MC Gamer, he has 107,000 subscribers, is he went very much in this Nintendo only direction, and I don't think he's inherently just part of the Nintendo Partner Program on YouTube. So maybe he is, but he was also running an annual Zelda-thon with him and his friends. He did Minecraft for a short time, but then he kind of got bored with it, I guess, and focused on, yeah, the about on his page is the official channel of Zeldathon. Let's see. And he has over 20 million views with 100,000 subscribers. So I guess that's how big you have to get until for people to start talking about you. Let's see. This. This. Yeah, I don't even really have much of anything else to say about Super MC Gamer. He was, I think, part of the Minecraft group for a while. I don't know if he's done a Minecraft video in a long time. I guess I could look at his videos. I just stopped watching him. That's kind of it. Just because he's just playing the same. He's playing the same old Nintendo games over and over again, and I'm willing to watch somebody speedrun old Nintendo games or old games, but I'm not willing to watch them play a game when it's their 5th or 6th time. Particularly since I don't feel like, I don't recall him having such incredible and in-depth insight on criticizing the games. He's far too much of a fanboy of Nintendo to really criticize them, I would guess. Yeah, I'm just scrolling. The Zeldathon podcast of some sort called the Zeldathon Show. Yeah. I'm just seeing Zelda. Yeah. So I don't even know what you take from that article from Your Gamer. It's just, I guess it's a better article to write than some other ones I've seen. At least here you're using the efforts of a YouTuber to promote that YouTuber instead of, now I need to do Monster Hunt. That's an odd thing to have to do. So Monster Hunt is this one. How are we on Monster Hunt? I guess we just move forward here. We're playing as Cards that didn't start in your deck cost 1 less. We'll take that, I guess. And coins. Gang up. Let's go to gold. Jade.
Ancient spirits, hear my call. By root and vine.
At least in this case, your gamer is not trying to crush or say something nasty about a YouTuber. At least it doesn't seem like that.
The trail leads here.
Leave this place.
Let's... Next, we have a game on Steam. Man, I am just so tired from the expansion yesterday. That was just timed very poorly for me. Next game we have is Kings and Assassins. Also, I'm still very much struggling with insomnia. Let's see. Kings and Assassins says it's a strategy game. It's kind of got an interesting cel-shaded look to it in its thumbnail. The actual game looks like it's an isometric top-down game, so I don't know if this is kind of like almost a Warcraft Go-esque puzzle game, or if there's something more. It seems like maybe you need to march a king through different play fields, and by marching that king through the different play fields, you can let's go ahead and just do that.
First kill.
There. Let's see. Kings and Assassins describes itself. It says, discover the digital adaptation of the renowned 2-player game. Can you safeguard the king all the way to the castle? Danger abound in an angry mob controlled by your opponent. 3 assassins are planning to murder the monarch. Get ready for the fight. The hunt is on. So it seems like it's a digital version of what would have been a board game. It doesn't look bad at all. So this is something, it does require a third-party account, which if I were to actually buy this game, I may struggle mentally with actually doing that.
This guy's toast.
First.
Job done.
And it does require a third-party EULA. Kings and Assassins is $6.99. It says it only has like 2 game boards. And seems kind of crazy too. This looks good. It's good enough to at least put on the wish list and keep an eye on it. And I haven't covered a lot of games so far. I'm moving incredibly slow today.
Talk about a nice first kill. First kill.
Hey, lights out.
Let's see. Moving on, Eurogamer has an article. Halo TV show due out in 2020 features Master Chief in the lead role. Will follow a new story. I assume that unless this is just straight up a non-canonical tale, that guarantees that Master Chief will always be alive. Like, I assume that's the case.
One shot, one.
Hey, lights out.
Job's done.
There we go. This is Showtime that's working on this. So there's still a lot of room though for that to just not happen. Not that I'm particularly rooting for it to happen or not happen.
Hey, lights out.
Forward. Your Gamer has an article. Ubisoft teases Rainbow Six Siege's seemingly UK-themed new season, Operation Grim Sky. You can read that article, I guess, if you want, but I don't care about Rainbow Six Siege. I think the audience there is very evenly split between people that have long since missed that boat, or people that are still interested in playing that game.
I adore Murlocs. They're like frogs, but
Rainbow Six Siege is another one of these games that is just getting talked about way too much and way overhyped. I know it is a games as a service game that keeps on going on and on and on, but
The trail leads here.
I'm not sure you need to report on it any more than, say, you report on like the new update to World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft, frankly, should be the most reported games as a service MMO game that exists, because it is culturally more relevant and has probably more players. Alright, we have a game called Flame Ruby on Steam. It says, grab up to 6 friends and blast into the exciting world of Flame Ruby. Test your wits with dozens of item combinations just for you. This doesn't even look like MS Paint level graphics. It looks like somebody literally drew these with a colored pencil. Let's see, yeah. Ooh, could I steal his quest? Apparently I could. I could steal his quest and try to play Murlocs, but that would never happen. Let's see, how much is Flame Ruby? I'm not seeing a price. Did I scroll by it? It's not even listed for sale anymore, apparently. It says it's free to play, but then it also has microtransactions up the wazoo. It's a $25 microtransaction for rubies. I think this game has already been kicked off Steam. And how Steam deals with that is kind of an interesting move. Because yeah, I guess I could steal that card. Generally speaking, the idea is that I think they keep the page up for a while and then take down the download button. But at a certain point, I think they take the page down too. Next game we have on Steam is called Shadow Crawl, and it's tagged an indie adventure RPG strategy game. From the thumbnail, it looks like it's total garbage. There's quite a few videos on this, but it's going for a even less than 8-bit Nintendo NES era graphics. It's going for something that I guess would be between an Atari and an NES. Just the graphics, there's a lot of graphics, but they're not good at all.
I smell blood.
Let's see. Am I going to die
I'll give it a shot.
if I continue to attack the face? Let's see. Apparently you're playing as a cult leader in Shadow Crawl, and you can worship demons, conquer gods, and make dark pacts with unspeakable horrors. Shadow Crawl is a classic roguelike with updated design principles and a strong focus on strategic gameplay. It's set in a highly interactive occult punk universe rooted heavily in gothic literations and pagan lore. This is, I don't think, what this game is. It's 33% off for $6.69. I don't think I'd spend more than 69 cents on this. It's just, visually looking at it, it's a top-down roguelike style game, and That's just not going to work for me. I'm gonna hit this. And this. And I'm gonna hit this.
First
And this.
job done.
So let's move on to the next game. We have a game on Steam called Lucky Night Poker Games, exciting blackjack and Texas Hold'em in VR. The issue with any poker game, yeah, particularly when you're trying to have a visual aspect to it, and it's not just a simplistic top-down thing, is how much variety do you see in the people, in the environments, in the table styles, the surrounded areas. They've done something here where either they've gotten a decent amount of Unity assets that works with them, or they've animated it themselves. So I'm seeing characters. I'm seeing a dealer that's interesting to look at. I'm seeing characters as other players. To be fair, it's kind of towards the male gaze. The dealer has like a low-cut blouse that I don't think any casino would want, because it would distract from actually playing it. The VR section has a bar you can sit at where you can smoke cigars and drink, and there's seems to be some kind of emotes. Summon a random Murloc. Give your minions death rattle, summon a random Murloc. Not a terrible thought. Take these cards and I'll keep on playing.
Can hear you thinking. He feeds on your fear.
So visually, it's pretty appealing, but I'm not seeing a lot of variety here.
Soon
And
you will be but
blackjack
a
and
shallow
Texas
husk.
Hold'em is not a terrible selection, but it's not a great selection. It's an English and simplified Chinese game, which makes me suspicious. Like, I imagine what's going to happen is that people will get this game that yeah, I imagine you get bored of it pretty fast. That's one of the reasons why Poker Night at the Inventory is at least a different attempt on a poker game, because it's built around poker characters, crazy characters talking to you as you're playing poker, which is inherently in itself a boring and slow game. So having some slight distraction there of conversation. This VR game allows 6 players to be matched, and it says simple and natural controls only, and they didn't put a space between controls and only. Yeah, this is almost certainly a cheap Chinese game, but it looks rather pretty. It's 99 cents. If you have VR, this might be one that you would want to gamble on. No pun intended. But you definitely need to go in with eyes wide open. In the image, I can see that they really only have one animation of one dealer, so there's basically a clone of the dealer at another table. Playing this in VR doesn't seem like the controls are actually going to be that great, and I'm not sure how much that would really affect poker in particular if you're seeing other opponents move their hands, but not seeing their facial reactions and things like that. The fact that it's 99 cents. I'm gonna wishlist this and just keep an eye on it. It's a VR game, so I wouldn't be able to play it anyways, but I do want to see what the reviews actually come out on this, because you know, at that price point, if it actually is even slightly decent, that could be a surprise. Let's go ahead and get this. Moving on,
Soul is nothing more than a bird.
we have on Steam Beauty and the Beast Hidden Object Fairy Tale, Hidden Object game. This is not from Big Fish Games. It's rated 100% positive of 13 user reviews, which is slightly suspicious. Let's see, it supports a bunch of languages. It's 10% off for $2.69. Inherently, yeah, I probably should wishlist this game because it's just cheaper. Like that simple factor, instead of dealing with Big Fish Games that are always these collector's editions that are selling for $13, that wouldn't make more sense. I think I'm watching the video here. It seems like like most hidden object games, you're just kind of randomly trying to find things. There might be slightly less of a story in this game. They seem to have done things a little bit different and not tried to put an adventure or story in it. But the graphics don't look terrible. Of course, the graphics in hidden object games are almost 100% pre-bought assets. Anyways. This. Do this. Do this. Do this. Do that. So yeah, I'll wishlist that. Next game we have on Steam is called Shadowblood VR. They say it's a first-person action game based on fantasy. You have to defend the country of Nara by defeating a conned, corrupted, malevolent dragon. Let's see. Sounds like a Chinese game, if I was to guess. I'm gonna take this since we're getting close to the end here. If I somehow just stupidly win this, I'd be amazed. Also, I haven't been paying attention. I may have already gotten the daily quest done. So what is this really? It's a VR game where it looks like you're in an arena and you're fighting several monsters. And even though you're swinging your sword, it's telling you that you missed or you did a critical hit, so it's running a percentage, a miss calculation. And boy, can you not do that in a VR scenario where you know you hit something. See, it's $8 for Shadowblood, even, no discount. Graphics don't look bad, but you really are just going to be standing in a few different areas attacking monsters from best I can tell. And I guess eventually you might work up your way up to a final dragon fight. Gematsu has an article, Disaster Report 4+, Summer Memories VR mode has a dedicated story. The main story will not be playable in the PlayStation VR headset. Disaster Report itself will not be playable outside of Japan. So it's coming out October 25th in Japan. They've already said they're not going to bring it to the West or outside of Japan. It's a shame. Somebody needs to clone them, and just say, look, if you're not going to do it, then we'll do it.
Job's done.
Draw a spell from your deck. So if I continue playing with a bunch of spells, I'm gonna give her a lot of cards. I can do this, though. And then I can do that.
Job's done.
And then in the turn. Gematsu has an article, Shuhao Imai Hinsa that canceled Tokyo Majin Gakken Tensenshu release. Kenpouchu and Genhouchu remasters. I don't know any of these games names. Seems like 3 different games from a DS series. Like, okay. This is probably not any actionable information anyways, even if I did know these games, because you kind of have to wait until you hit a point. Do I have a random friendly beast that would have died? That one will, so I could play that. Yeah, until they've actually announced something, there's nothing really to take from that. Gematsu has an article. Persona Q2 story is centered on the Persona 5 cast, heavily involves Persona 3 female protagonists. So I suppose Persona Q2 is kind of a side story spin-off of Persona 5 characters, while bringing back a, I assume, fan favorite from Persona 3. How those two games really connect to each other is slightly questionable. If I do this, he dies. If I do this, they don't die.
What lurks in the depths?
Let's see. Alright. Do this. This. Then steal a card so I can do this and then do that.
Your magic only darkens this wood.
Job's done.
13 cards to 14 cards now. So this game is interesting. Doctor Who Infinity is on Steam, and I thought this was going to clearly be a game that was just a blatant theft of the Doctor Who series, like they didn't have the copyright to it at all type thing.
I only grow stronger, fool.
Job's done.
But it turns out Doctor Who Infinity is actually from somebody who has the license, or at least it seems that way. It says Doctor Who Infinity brought to you by the team behind the award-winning Doctor Who Legacy game. This is the inventive new platform for telling original Doctor Who stories written, drawn, and narrated by incredible talent mixed with a unique take of puzzle gameplay. And let's see. Now, the fact that they say they're the people that made Doctor Who Legacy is weird, because I don't see Doctor Who Legacy listed on Steam under them. So let's see. It was a app. Yeah, it was a Google app game. Okay, that explains it. I'm thinking of a different Doctor Who game then. Not Doctor Who Legacy. Let's do this. And do I want to do 2 to an undamaged one? What do I want to do this? Let's take this. Do this. Do this. This. Do that. In return. See, what's gonna suck here is I'm gonna get him to draw 4 more cards, and then that's gonna, it's still not gonna fatigue him. So I guess before I talk about this game is a match 3 game to start off with. That's the weird part. It's animated in a weird way. Looks like it's definitely going for a like painted in brightly colored pictures. It's probably trying to target towards kids, which makes sense. You know, Doctor Who ostensibly is a kid's show, whether people want to admit it or not. But
This guy's toast.
the art style seems to also kind of wander, so I imagine that they have different artists working on it that are not really aping them. Seems like you're getting stories of all the previous Doctors and things that would tie into at least a reboot series, if not the entirety of the Doctor Who series. I'm not a huge fan of Doctor Who. I don't think you get enough quality compared to dealing with a lot of pretty bad episodes.
Job's done.
See, yeah, she's drawing cards, but it's not increasing her fatigue. So, yeah, that's not gonna work. Her special ability is not fatiguing enough. She's got it to 16. Let's see. Do this. Swipe. Cast a spell.
One shot, one kill. Running a program.
Let's see, he'll only take 4 damage there. I don't know how you can love this game though. It's already got $15 of DLC on it. Doctor Who Infinity, the Lady of the Lake, and the main game. I guess that's a 3 stories bundle. The Lady of the Lake is the only actual DLC. So to buy it with the first bit of DLC, you're already paying $15.28 for a match 3 game on PC for really no reason. Or you could just buy the main base game for $11.99. I guess I'll wishlist it just to keep an eye on it, but I seriously doubt very many people. Let's see. If I took this card, it wouldn't help me. Let's see. Let's play this. And let's play this. Summon a 1/1 card for each wisp in your hand, for each card in your hand.
Running the program.
Let's see, let's try that.
Of course.
Well, the good news is,
Job's done.
unless this last card can do 3 damage, I may have won here. May have really lucked out. Really, really lucked out. There you go. Got really lucky there. So no real resolution on Doctor Who Infinity. I'd say check it out if you're obsessed with Doctor Who and have to have everything Doctor Who. I'd say maybe consider a alternate there. Let's see. I think we already did what we needed to do, so I need to really just move over to the Asian account. Let's open this pack. Now on my European account, I probably, with some luck, will get at least 1 card here that doesn't get turned into dust. I imagine it would be this epic. If that's not the case, well then I will have a bunch of dust, and I do have some more dust I could make. Yeah, all 5 of those just got turned into dust. And where were we in crafting mode as far as missing common? I wish there was some autocomplete or spell check on this. So all standard cards in crafting mode, I have this. So first things, let's start getting things that we don't even have 1 of. That makes sense, because there is this thought, it's never been proven or even stated by Blizzard, that you might be less likely to get a new card if you don't have 1 of them already. But if I can get to a complete collection of commons and standard play, that moves me closer to being in line with my other account. Of course, I should have done this in neutral cards first, and by adding all these cards, this very possibly is going to change what HS Replay was recommending me, because HS Replay certainly wasn't recommending me the top tier decks that I would need 6,000 dust to make. They were recommending me something less than that. I'm seriously surprised I don't have 2 of those. And yeah, that's some progress. At least there's still a ton of missing things, but at least now I have 1 of every common card. Let's see, I believe for my main account I had somewhere around 33 pages of missing standard cards. In comparison, we're at 64 pages on the European account, and I imagine I'm only 137 pages in total of missing cards. So not as bad as I would have thought. A little bit of progress being made. We used our dust, I think, wisely. at least. Well, it's certainly going slow. It's a slow Wednesday. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.